Thanks for coming in. I see a lot of new faces, but so just to be sure, if you are parked here in this lot over here, take the moment right now and move it across the street, across Palm Avenue to that parking lot. All right. I don't see anyone running, so you either did good or you're risking it. Okay. So I'm Dr. Shane Smith. I am one of the number of organizers that we have here for the 1 million cups. How many of you are here for the first time? Raise your hand. I love that. Look at that. All right. So some of you newbies. How did you hear about it? What brought you in? Shout it out.
I'm from the Lakeland location.
Okay, thanks for coming over. A few of us were there on the first ever one when it was at Catapult. So great, at the old original Catapult. So good. Thank you for coming. Who else as far as first timers?
I looked up Bureau taxes right in front of the site and started taking the voucher.
By chance, I love it. And you?
Looked up for I was mostly looking for small business administration type mentoring and stuff. And this popped up in the calendar for who was coming, and I was like, well, that fits my schedule. That'll be the first thing I do.
Fantastic. Way to go. Yes.
Admin for my employment.
Excellent. All right. Keep spreading the word, guys. This is what we want, a good, vibrant, healthy community of small business owners, entrepreneurs, whoever, whatever you fit in. Keep coming back. Keep sharing it. For those of you that don't know, 1 million cups, this is your first time, 1 million cups is a national organization. We are one of nearly 150 chapters around the country. So you could go to Lakeland, you could go to St. Pete, you could go to Kansas City where the headquarters is. But wherever you are, typically Wednesdays at 9 is a standardized time where we're sharing 1 million cups of coffee around a community supporting this ecosystem. So thank you for being here. Let's also make sure that we share what we have going on. So post on social media, take pictures of your presenters and post on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. It's 1 million cups Tampa. And then on Instagram, it's at 1MCTPA. All right. So please post. That's another way people start seeing and trusting that they should be here. Fear of missing out. Right. So let's put that pressure on them. All right. All right. On your table in front of you are 2 QR codes. There is one face up on that letter size piece of paper. Scan that. Everybody should scan that QR code. That is letting headquarters in Kansas City know that we have this many people attending. All right. It does take your email. It doesn't do anything with it other than count the number of times you've been here. The more times you are here, the more chances you have of earning some swag. Maybe it's a mug. Maybe it's a notebook. You start off with a pen. We start you in easy and then we hook you, right? So please start doing that. The other one, the placard that is standing up, that's for this wonderful facility here. This facility is actually run by Hillsborough County. David, Cassidy, Shayla, etc. They're all here as county employees serving the community to help grow economic development from the grassroots up, right? So valuable. So we're very grateful for them. What that QR code is, it gives you an email just typically once a week, Tuesday mornings, telling you what's on the slate for the upcoming week or 10 days. All right. And there's a lot of great programming that happens here every week. So highly recommend that as well. All right. So 2 presenters typically on any given 1 million cups day. They have 6 minutes to present, and then we as a community get to ask questions, provide feedback, maybe most importantly, provide connections for them and resources for them that will help propel them even further. So we have 2 great friends of the ECC here today presenting. The first one up is a friend of mine for probably over 10 years, because he was a student of mine in the MBA program at Tampa. He's been doing wonderful, presented here years ago. And while he's not here in town, he's back to give us an update. So if everybody will, please welcome Vincent Lanci. Give him a mic.
All right. Well, Can everybody hear me?
Can hear you.
Yes.
Good, good. Well, Shane, thanks for the introduction and everybody for taking some time to hear me talk today for 6 minutes. I'm very grateful to continue to come back here. And this presentation is as if you've never met me before, so I apologize if it's a bit repetitive. But now we've moved into the next part where we're doing traumatic brain injury coaching for survivors, caregivers, family, and friends. And I could certainly use some pointers here. So, what led me here? A few days before what should have been my last semester as an undergraduate at UT, I faced the decision of getting in the car with someone drinking and driving or taking the safe route home and walking home. I decided to walk home and I was hit by a car that left a bar, led me to a coma at Tampa General Hospital. And when I woke from that, I had a new journey to begin, very uphill, but it changed what I wanted out of life. I didn't know what more was, but I knew it meant finish going to school for my finance degree. And then later, this picture is me and Dr. Vaughn speaking for my MBA. But the evolution, and this will explain why I'm here. In 2015, I had gotten my MBA and I was running under Strive to Lead. I was trying to make a difference somehow, some way, but had no idea what to do. Eventually, I started writing and podcasting as a way to share my story. I had come back here two more times. The first, when Left for Dead Incorporated started doing more ghostwriting and writing projects. And then from being Left for Dead to Coming Alive podcast production, where we now do what I learned to do, start podcasts and guesting appearances for folks who want a show but don't have the time to do it on their own. And then through that, I put Coming Alive podcast production through the Loth Incubator Center. That's me and Bert and the first picture here to really put the pieces together, the missing ingredients. And now that company has the sales funnels, the everything built, the team's in place to run without me as long as we had more sales. So from Coming Alive to now Living Proof TBI coaching. On my 13-year anniversary this January, I published the TBI recovery book. Similar to what I did for Coming Alive podcast production, I wrote a book, I Want to Start a Podcast, which is my onboarding tool for new clients. This is another workbook, TBI Recovery, as a preview to my coaching practices. And kind of right now, that's where I am. I'm seeing a few one-on-one survivors, but something I learned was how hard communication was. The things I was saying or the way I was interpreting things put a strain on a lot of my relationships, made it very hard. So I'm trying to dive more into that to help people miss some mistakes, you could say, that I made along my way. But I do hope to, of course, grow this to more group workshops, support groups, and offer more resources. And big shout out to Shane who kicked it off here. Do a lot of great work with him. But here are some areas, and I'll be a little under 6 minutes here, that could help me most. And of course, just any ideas or offerings after hearing my story that you perceive as could be valuable that I can offer and help others with. Any warm connections or leads to potential clients or organizations that highlight and value brain injury support that I could become a partner with. And then overall, just ways to make the biggest impact. And I want to thank everyone for giving me a few minutes today to hear my story. And yeah, thank you.
Vincent, this is Shane again, and you kind of already touched on it, but please go a little deeper. What can we as a community do for you?
Maybe help me connect some dots. The hardest part of entrepreneurship is you have a good idea, but it's actually monetizing it and sustaining it. For me, I had gone back to the Load Center for the podcast company, and I'm thinking about applying and going back in for the fall cohort to bring the Living Proof TBI coaching through. But just ways and ideas that come to mind for me to really bring this to the next level opposed to a client here and there.
Right, let's open it up for questions. Please raise your hand and we'll call on them for you. That'll be easiest. Yes, please.
Hello, how many employees do you have?
For the brain injury coaching company, it will be just me. on the podcast production side, we have a team of up to 11 that are freelancers.
Dave?
Hey Vincent, it's David. So for the podcast, do you have like consistent sponsors?
So something I learned for podcast sponsorship is if you're promoting someone else's message and offerings, it's taking away from what you have going on yourself. I have some that in the systems of applying guests that people want to come on, they'll look at the podcast offerings and they become a partner or a sponsor. But I mainly try to promote Coming Alive podcast production on that entrepreneur show and now Living Proof TBI coaching on a mental health break.
I think we met 2 weeks ago, great presentation. One, actually, we did see the slides, which is good. I didn't know you had prior business. My recommendation in terms of, since you're already doing podcasts, there's a great podcaster named John Lee Dumas. He's a veteran, and since you want to get into the TBI space, there might be some connections that you could make. Just look at, search for Entrepreneurs on Fire. That's his podcast. I was a guest on that podcast. I didn't know what the veteran, but that may actually help you. Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate the feedback.
Hi, great presentation. My question is, once you do, it seems a natural connection with the medical community. Do you have relationships in the medical community that you leverage for your business, your consulting business, coaching business?
I'm very grateful that Tampa General Hospital became my first podcast production client when we launched the company. They're still a client where we're doing their Voices of Experience series, highlighting different patients' voices and experience to help bring awareness to the amazing PFAC department they have. I haven't had much warm referral to anything monetized in a monetized sense, excuse me, for this yet, but I hope to.
What kind of models and methods do you use for your coaching services?
Well, this is brand new. I have a RISE framework that I use with the paid coaching clients, and there's only two on the brain injury coaching right now, where in the book I've outlined, 10 to 15 practices where hopefully the survivor and their caregiver can do them on their own or with their family members as a gate to getting to the coaching. But I'm open to any suggestions or things that came to your mind.
Great presentation, and I'm happy to hear about your road to recovery with TGH. I actually worked there, but my question to you, have you even talked about to any other institutes, health institutes, or try to get a hold of any other health agencies like TGH that has an education program for your TBI business?
I'm getting a lot of no responses with emails. Unfortunately, that's a big part of entrepreneurship. If you happen to have any warm connection, I would really appreciate that opportunity to connect with them.
Question about your plan for different streams of income, because I did hear you mention the podcast, which someone asked about sponsorship opportunities as one stream. You mentioned the workbook and then the one-on-one coaching. So which is going to be like your lead generator? Like, is the podcast to then lead to the purchasing the workbook and then hopefully one-on-one coaching?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna starting a TBI specific podcast, as Shane always teaches us to niche down even more. A mental health break has grown quite a bit, so I still have that as the sponsor, hopefully to bring people to the coaching. But that is the number one biggest area of need I have right now is warm connections to potential partners, clients, decision makers to help me really take this dream into more of a reality.
So with this being a new business, what is your plan for, like, as far as marketing? Which one are you going to focus on first? The podcast, the workbook, or the coaching? Just curious.
Well, they're not entirely related. The Living Proof TBI coaching is going to be its own thing. I've gone by the Your TBI Coach, where that's a separate brand that I promote on my podcast, The Mental Health Break. I apologize, I wasn't clear. They're not they're not the same thing.
Great presentation, by the way. I also was in a coma due to anaphylactic shock. And the point of contact that I needed to get me through it, I relied on like my faith. So have you reached out to like any churches? I know a lot of pastors tend to go to the hospitals, directly. So have you reached out to any churches, church communities that might have like a contact?
That is a great piece of feedback. Thank you so much. I'm going to get into that. Thank you.
Love that.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Brian again, if you don't mind, later on, maybe I can get your information, I'll pass it along. I know we, at TGH, they like to use the words, we hear, we teach, we innovate, and with your TBI stuff, it sounds like it's innovative. If you don't mind, I'll get your information a little bit later so I can give it to, them. But to be honest, that way you get more, of an outlook with TGH. And then, yeah, again, I was gonna touch on that too with the faith-based stuff too, with getting into churches and whatnot.
Thank you very much. I would really appreciate that. I pulled up some of my contact info here. Feel free to call or text anytime.
And we'll also connect you with a great friend of ours, Rabbi Ron, I'll call him. He's very much involved in actually both Christianity and Judaism communities. And so he might already have a head start on some of those contacts.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
My husband and I arrived late. I'm actually Rabbi Ron's wife.
Oh, of course.
And I have to tell you,
There he is.
I arrived later, but I was so moved by your presentation. Incredible. I am feeling like, wow, you would be a tremendous speaker at schools, middle school and high school, when kids are really wondering about their value and their worth, their importance and mark in life. You are so inspirational.
Well, thank you so much for the warm words. Shane, if you can connect my contact info with her to bring that full circle with Left 4 Dead Incorporated. I actually started as a school speaker. I have a mental health book for each age group. I was working with AMI kids doing workshops and all of these things. Then COVID came and I learned schools' budgets largely disappeared. They were understaffed, over challenged, and that dream kind of slowly started to fade. And that's when I was still in hospitality 2 nights a week. Big shout out again to the Loth Center at UT. If you have any connections to decision makers in the school district, I would really appreciate an introduction because that's my first love as far as business, school speaking, and trying to make a difference with the kids while it's early.
So sports has an analogous brain injury problem, especially football, probably hockey, anything that's a contact sport. Have you reached out to any of the organizations that deal with those traumatic brain injuries? Because honestly, the need is greater probably there, and the, I guess, visibility is there as well.
Yeah, thank you for that feedback as well. That sounds like something I needed to get on right away. I am willing to take any chance I can to make something happen. With cold marketing, as everyone in this room can attest to, it's just not the easiest game. So I'm just going to keep doing the best I can there.
I mean, if you're Tampa based, start with the Bucks,
right,
and make your way in. I mean, TGH, they sponsor the Buccaneers, right?
No, they're sponsors of the Lightning.
Oh, they sponsor the what?
Nothing
wrong with that.
Listen, I'm a low-level security officer. I don't make it happen more than what I can.
It's on the banners outside of this.
Right, yeah. Down that line as well, more on the grassroots high school level, look to get involved with some of the local, wherever you may be, the FCA, the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, are often an active community within high school sports. So
Even school systems, sports agencies, kids nowadays are playing high school football and basketball and whatnot, and I've seen kids, not my personally playing, I've seen kids get hard hits.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. Yeah.
Hi, Jack Barry. Have you, do you do any target marketing?
I'm learning through someone else how to use Facebook ads, Google ads, someone that does that for professionally. So I'm trying to learn a little bit. I'm newly into that field.
I would look, if I were you, I would be looking at the CDC surveillance report, so Centers for Disease Control, do hospital discharges, and you'll start to see patterns of where your prospects slash suspects slash leads are at. You'll see clusters of them. You know, there's not going to be a lot of traumatic brain injury probably in Omaha.
Okay.
Right. But there will be, you know, a lot of them in South Philly, you know.
Thank you very much. I had not thought of that at all. Thank you so
the way
much.
to target these things.
Yes.
Yeah, I also want to echo just fantastic presentation. I do have a point of contact that may be able to assist you with the cold outreach. As an entrepreneur of my own, I know how challenging that could be. But I have recently met someone who is doing a test pilot with some AI email, AI conversations. So I definitely want to connect those dots. It may not be a direct contact to what you're trying to achieve, but it can help that process of actually reaching out and of actually following up. So I'll definitely I'll pass their information over to you. And I have them contact you, but that is something that they're looking to do, and it is a test pilot. So you know it could be beneficial for both parties.
I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Hey Vince, this is Pam McCoy. How are you? Great presentation. I will reach out to you. I've got some contacts at the school district.
Oh, I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, do you have any, like an accessible branch, kind of like a 501c4 branch? I don't know if you're 501c3 or LLC, to make it like accessible to low income individuals?
That is a great idea. Right now, I'm an S Corp, and then these are under the umbrella Left 4 Dead Incorporated, and then under the umbrella from Left 4 Dead to Coming Alive, and then Living Proof. I should definitely look in. Thank you. Do you have any specific recommendations with this as I should start maybe initial research?
Yeah, I mean, I would register as a 501c3, and then you have to open like a 501c4 branch, but that can be like your main thing. And then you can open like a charitable account so that you can assist those individuals. And I also think that would help with your reach and just kind of like your getting in with communities, because that's a big thing, people not being able to afford stuff like that. So yeah, I think that would be good overall. And we can talk about that later. I'll get that.
Yeah, thank you so much. Please email me or text or call, whatever you feel comfortable with. My information's up here.
Yeah, and Vincent, it's a good idea to kind of have a hybrid model, to have a nonprofit and a for-profit model. Because a lot of doors won't open for you if they're a hospital, healthcare, education, unless you are a nonprofit organization. But it doesn't mean that you cannot have extended arms from that exposure to bring people into the for-profit model.
Right. Thank you.
Did you have one more? Yeah.
One thought that I had was, I know I go on Mondays to a Bible club at Brandon High School, and there are a number of Bible clubs at various high schools. That's a smaller setting that normally meets after school on a Monday. They also have maybe 3 or 4 times a year where it's a larger group of students, but that would expose you to students that go to respective churches. And that might be a gateway for you to speak in those churches or synagogues or whatever.
That's a wonderful idea. Thank you very much. I had also not thought of that.
Great, and I just want to make a comment, and this is something that Vincent and I have talked about, but I think it's a great lesson if I have permission to kind of use your path as a case study.
Yes.
it's okay for us to do the things that don't scale first. Sometimes people tell us to jump ahead 10 steps. And we didn't have enough traction yet. We hire staff so we don't have to sell. We hire someone to do this because we want to make it a business before we make ourselves self-employed. But it might not gain traction, and then you have a lot of overhead, and you're stuck there wondering how this is going to work, and it puts you in a form of desperation and instead of abundance, right? So it's okay, and his new path here with the TBI, I forget your title of it, but it's coming more from that individual. This is me putting my story out there, and it's going to put him as his sole employee. And I used to think something called as a lifestyle entrepreneur was a derogatory term, right? And then I matured and I realized that's all I want to be right now. Right? I don't want this to grow up to be a $10 million company with 400 employees that I have to manage. I want it to be manageable and just enjoy life from it, right? So I think that's the journey, part of his journey of where he's discovering where he wants to be or where he can be, or at least for now, and what he will become. So just keep that in mind as you go on your journey. So everybody, please give Vincent a round of applause. Okay.
Hey, thank you so much for having me, everyone, and Lynn and everyone for bringing me in. Thank you.
Great to see you. Excellent, excellent. Before we move on to our second speaker, let's go ahead and I want to honor our organizers. They do a lot of work. You see David coming up here doing all this tech work. He and the organizers do so much more. For those of you that are interested in presenting in the future, raise your hands. Let's see some hands out there. Great. We would love for you to do that. You can apply on the 1millioncups.com/Tampa. There's an application process to do that. And you don't have to do it, at your raw. Come in, watch others do it. And then before it's your turn, they will actually take you through a run through to make, look at your slides, offer improvements. People like Miranda as a great example of an expert that will help you fine tune all that. So all the organizers in here, raise your hand, right? Walter, Pamela, Julia, David, thank you guys. Right. You'll also see them. We rotate on our MC duties, so you'll see some of them doing that as well. So thank you guys. Very, very important. Also want to give a big shout out to not only an organizer, but also a sponsor. Julia works for Blind Tiger, and Blind Tiger is our top sponsor. So thank you for doing that. Also, Tori. Tori is our social media manager. So when you see it out there on Facebook, it's often all because of her. So thank you. It's definitely made a big difference. All right. So another reminder to apply if you're interested in presenting. But let's go to another friend of ours here. Recently, over the number of months coming up, he's been very heavily involved in some of the workshops that have taken place, and now he's here to present. So follow in his footsteps. But if everybody will, please welcome Tate.
Thank you very much. Is this working? Yeah, there we go. As Shane mentioned, it is well worth doing this, taking this moment to do your pitch, your presentation. And I'm here now. My name is Donald Tate. I am the founder of Helixalogic. It's a technology consulting firm and support firm designed purely to answer one question, right? Resolve one problem. And that problem, well, any of you ever got a new phone or a new laptop? Read the instructions? No? Could you find the instructions? Yeah, no, see, that's where we run into an issue, right? We had people with technology every single day. We tell them, learn to use it and be safe. That's our instructions. And that's where we run into a problem. Because how does anybody learn to use something without being taught. So Helixalogic was built to do that, to teach. And the reason it was built that way is technology is everywhere, but nobody wants to help anybody. So Helixalogic takes a different look. We step in when we fix a problem for somebody, we explain why it was the problem. We explain how we got to the solution. And we help them not have to call us every time that same problem shows up. No, not everybody wants that. Some people just want us to show up and just do it. We will certainly do that. But our goal is to make people confident with their technology, to step up and say, you have the ability to do more than you think. You don't have to just stop and say, let me get help. You can learn. Let us help you learn. So that's our goal, right? And the reason that's our goal is, as I was stepping out of my career in IT, in the corporate world, where I designed systems to protect large corporations, individuals in those corporations, protect their money, taught them how not to be taken advantage of, how to use their technology confidently. I ran into a situation where I found out my own mom had just been scammed, not once, but twice, trying to get medical equipment for my dad so she could take care of him at home in his final months. As I was helping her clean up from that, I found out that my grandkids, 8 and 9, had just started being online, allowed into software that allowed chats, that had interactions. And the whole mentality was, it's okay, it's a kid's account, right? So I was kind of haunted at that moment. I realized I'd spent 30 plus years teaching corporate America how to be safe and had not taught my own family how to be safe. And that's where I stopped at a Staples, looking for a new printer. So I could print lots of material to get out there in the world to say, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to teach you. And an older gentleman stopped and asked me, could I help him find a printer? Because I was standing in the printer section and nobody was coming to it. And he wanted a printer that literally, he said, was advertised at printing 3,000 pages per inkwell. Anybody bought a printer that could print 3,000 pages on one cartridge? Advertised, they're out there. I found it. I found it advertised later, not then. I went to the mode. Mind if I ask you what you need it for? And we went down that path, and he left with a printer that would do the job. Print homework for his grandkids because their parents couldn't afford to do it, and print coloring pages. So they had something to do. And I left there realizing it wasn't just my family I had felt. It was my entire community. So Helixalogic became my arm of reaching out there and doing that. We take difficult situations and teach you to stay calm. We teach you how to look at things in a clear method and become confident in your technology. And that is going to help protect you more than all the firewalls, all the hardware, all the everything that you can have. Being confident and understanding your technology is going to do the most. So to do that, I've started a whole different direction with Helixalogic. And that is community digital safety, keeping kids safe online, and everyday tech help. These are programs that I've built where we're going to go into communities and teach people how to follow steps when they get that scam, when they get that phishing attempt. And then we're going to guide them from that into how to identify it and avoid it and report it. And with the kids, we're going to take and explain to parents, don't just let them out there by themselves. Don't just say no either, because no just takes them to their friends. And you've got no control. We're going to recognize the risk that the kids have and teach the kids how to recognize what that risk looks like. And we're going to move forward and hopefully, thanks to a friend, set up a scenario where we get some local professionals in games and online activities for kids involved to teach the parents how to do it so the parents can teach the kids. So what's better for a kid? To learn from their friends or to learn from the professional mom or dad that can do it better than their friends? So these are things we're moving forward with. And it's important to us because it's important to the community to be successful. That's what I've got. And that's what I'm hoping to achieve with.
Good job, Lanci. So what can we as a community do for you?
So that's a great question.
Exactly.
And the real truth is help me reach more people, right? That's the number one thing. I need shares, referrals, invites. I'm out there cold calling, like Vincent mentioned, like all of you know, trying to get access to people that don't know me. And it's a tough world, right? Everybody's pitching what I'm doing in some fashion or another. It's without the teaching aspect. Help me get into small businesses. By small business, I mean mom and pops. I mean solopreneurs, startups, founders. Because I don't need to help corporate America anymore. They've got their teams. I help build that out. I need to help those people that are most dangerous. Those are the people that can't afford to pay for somebody to sit in their building and keep them there, keep them safe. So I need introductions to those. And then I need community connections. I need to find those places where I can do these workshops, right? So that's what I need.
And we're gonna let you call on people. Make sure to
Excellent.
raise your hand so Don can call on you.
You've been over there patient? Go ahead.
Great presentation, vision, very good. And the mission, of course, I'd like to understand the commercial part of it, you know, how you're planning on monetizing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So like I said, Helixalogic is a consulting and support company at heart, right? That is our number one piece. So we do build customers where we charge them for our services. Those services happen to include being taught, right? So that's where we're going to monetize most of our stuff. We do have a monetary value to our workshops, though, right? And it's a twofold, and we're going to be looking down very soon at a 501c3 environment. But right now, it is still very much for profit.
Yeah.
Based off of sponsorships for the local communities.
The packages, do you have packages that you could share?
I do, and we can, well, let me give you some general pricing. We can talk about packages later. I don't want to get into it because it gets quite lengthy, right? But in general, a home user, it's $45 an hour. We're not trying to kill anybody with a price, right? We're trying to get them going. Volume will beat high pricing any day, right? Our individual workshops for home users, this would be our community and our kids and families stuff. They cost us around $400 to get out there. We're not trying to make a ton of money. We're trying to stay afloat. Let our support side really keep bringing the money in. And we do that for up to 30 people. Past that, we find we got to bring somebody else in, a little bit more money for support. So it goes up from there. Then we do small team support. These are the small businesses. That's that mom and pop. It's anywhere from $90 to $120 an hour because we're dealing with a lot more than we will in a home, right? And it's scaled because some mom and pops have a little bit more going on than others, right? Some have 2 or 3 locations. They may be a smaller mom and pop, but they may have 2 or 3 locations where they got 1 or 2 employees. We got to interconnect them. So it's scalable. That's our general pricing model. As far as packages go to what we can do, we have that, but that should be a discussion later. I believe you were next.
Yes, well, I just had a piece of feedback that may be useful to you and actually anybody in this room that I've kind of been gatekeeping for a little bit, but I've recently kind of found this system that I think would be beneficial. You mentioned looking for, or not having enough time with the cold calling and looking for some support. For anybody in this room, you can hire subject matter experts, put them on T99, or I believe that's what the form is called, basically hire them as freelance. They act as your employees, but they're on a commission base. I know it sounds scary to everybody else that is currently looking for employment, but a lot of people will take commission-based sales jobs because it's one of the highest paying industry in sales. Set yourself up a sales model, integrate it into your system. Get those 1099 subject matter experts on your administration, and they'll take care of your leads for you. They'll cold call for you, cut them in on a piece of the sales or the commission. But they'll take care of your cold calling. Show them your packages, set up your packages and your tiers, have them call your leads. When you go to 1 million cups, you're generating leads. Jot them down, put them in your lead generator, put them in your CRM. So that way when your subject matter experts need some work, you created a ship for them, you give them your lead list, they're automatically making those connections while you're out here pitching your business. So just something all of you can take that I've recently been working on integrating and building into my own personal systems, and that alleviates so much time for you, right? You don't have to do the cold calling.
Right. Thank you.
Try that out.
Appreciate that. Okay. Yes.
Hello, I am wondering, I have a few questions. What is your mission? And then are these workshops meant to be preventative or as a response? Like,
So, as far as what I'm asking for here today, the mission is to bring awareness to the communities, right? To bring security and safety in the digital world to communities. These workshops are designed to be proactive, not reactive. It's to teach people steps and methods that they can follow that will keep them from running into the issue to have to fix it. That being said, there's pieces of them. Like I said, the community-based one, there's 5 sessions, right? The next to the last session in that one is what to do if it happens, right? But it is designed to be proactive, not reactive.
follow up. So there's an organization, I don't know if you've heard of it. Don't know if it's a nonprofit. It might be. It's called Screen Strong. And their whole mission is like preventing and also reacting to incidents and like screen use early exposure to internet. And so we actually just had an event where like one of the ambassadors of Screen Strong came to talk about she's like a keynote speaker and they have a bunch of those. So I think that would be a cool organization to get connected with. Because you do more like on like a smaller scale and like within the community, whereas they do like corporate and like big events. So I think that would be cool.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I've found. There are, and I do know this organization, I've not looked at them hard, but I do know there are organizations that will do this to some extent for the corporate world because it is big money, right? There's almost nobody that goes to this extent. You have sheriff's departments, you have lawyers, you have stuff, but those are more, to me, are more fear-based structures where they come in and they tell you all the horrible things that happened. I don't want to do that. You can't make people confident by making them afraid, right? I want to teach people you have a way from the beginning. Matter of fact, you do it every day already. It's just one thing happens in that structure of the scam, of the phishing attempts. One thing happens that changes your ability to handle it. In the back.
So, great presentation. And I have a point of contact within the Hillsborough County Library System, who's a huge advocate for the material that you're presenting. They're called the Friends of the Library, which is based in pretty much every library here in Hillsborough County. I think we got probably close to 30 plus. So after the presentation, I can definitely connect you directly to them. So that way you can reach out, you know, and obviously just have a conversation and see where it goes from there. But I know the Hillsborough County Library System is a huge advocate for it, and they do have a budget for presenters who present, you know, different workshops already established. So that'd be, you know, not just a recommendation, but that's what I could add to, you know, support your journey.
That would be wonderful. That is one of my prime targets, is the library system. Yes. Right. Okay.
So question, have you thought about partnering with managed service providers, MSPs?
I am a managed service provider.
Okay. They're really good at setting things up and then triaging, but not necessarily the training.
Yes.
They don't want the stupid calls, but they would like to have their customers be more informed.
So I looked at that to a degree in the beginning, and actually most of them don't want to talk to you if you're also an MSP. And I am, and I understand it. Yeah. They're afraid I'll take their customers. I don't care about taking customers. I care about awareness.
My question is in regards to your payment, your pricing schedules. So the ones you have are, you know, like to come in and teach somebody. And now I'm thinking about like the grandparents who decided to get smart enough so they can help their grandkids. Have you thought about something like almost like a membership, a very small amount? So let's say that grandpa gets the email that's like, hey, you just won, or we want to connect you with, so that they could just forward it to you and go, hey, what's your opinion? Should I click or not? Like, is this real? So they don't have to pay you $45 to come to their house and look at the few emails they've saved, maybe, but that they could just on a regular basis, almost like a membership, gym membership that people keep paying. And
I love the ideal, and this is where this environment works. And to be completely honest, another friend here has brought a similar scenario up, a little bit more detailed, but that's part of it. And it is something I'm about to go into launching through probably school as the application. It's going to be a community, and that will be one of the
yeah,
offerings.
because I deal with some older people who use their phones and
I just want to say once, so this is going to be huge for community, people like myself, that's in ministry, as well as having a program for youth. It's funny because I was just talking to some parents and they're dealing with a lot of these things, and they take their kids' phone, but their friends have phones.
Exactly.
And so we're dealing with some really heavy stuff right now. I have about 3 girls that are into some really heavy stuff that I want to host events where I can have the parents, but we were talking to the kids, but the parents were not educated. So they're talking above the parents and they don't know what, they have these code words. I didn't know either. I'm like, okay, I'm 60, I don't know what you guys use, and they use simple words like salad. And I'm like, what is, I'm thinking that's really bad. It sounds good for you. You're gonna eat some salad. I'm like, yeah, I like salad. No salad, no more salad. So we didn't know what they were talking. So again, just codes that they're using and learning this stuff. And so when I tell you this is gonna be huge, I would love to get your information.
Absolutely.
So I can share it with other people. We need this.
Agreed. Agreed.
One more question, and it's gonna be hard to choose.
Oh, it's gonna be hard. She's had her hand up the longest.
I am a only child of a research librarian, which makes me quite a nerd. And I recently, in the last 2 or 3 months, made connection with a community of elders down in Frostproof, Florida. And it's a big church. And then they have church affiliations all over the state. I've also recently connected with a community in Winter Haven. It's a community center. I'm a person who is inclined, now that I know what you do, to just follow you around, literally, like, because I've spent 4 to 6 hours helping elders do things on their phone.
Yes.
Right? While I'm on the phone with them. It's incredible, right? How people buy fancy phones, way fancier than this one, and they don't know anything about how to use them. So your services are direly needed, and I just want to know where you're at. Where you're doing.
I can certainly make sure as this picks up, I will certainly get a calendar out there, and it will be part of the community that I build. And for anybody, I'll just say this now: for anybody coming through the 1 million cups, that community is a welcome community for you. And so once it's out there, that'll be a source to figure out where I'm at, what I'm doing. Okay.
Great.
Shane, I want to just do an organizer.
Okay.
Here. So when he came and did dry runs, one of the things I recommend, he's done fantastically. He's done 2 dry runs and I'm so impressed with this. But one of the things that I recommended is that he still reaches out to some of the connections with the larger companies and provide the workshops for his employees as an employee benefit. And so I wanted that out there for you to think of. If you are aware of a business owner who does support their employees and would pay for the seminar, then he can come in and he can do data. He can find out what do the employees want the most. And that's a great way for him to build some business.
And thank you very much, Ryan.
Great job, Don. Yeah, because it's really not the software that you put on your computer to protect you. It's not about the technology around it. It's about the human engineering, right? It's about what we do. It's about what our staff does. It's about what our children, our grandchildren do, right? So it's all about the education. And as you know, and people always say, what I always say is you niche until it hurts and then you niche some more. So he talked about the seniors, he talked about the families with children. And then he also had things up there for the small businesses. What if a niche doesn't mean you have to ignore the other? But what if it was families with children and or seniors that are also small business owners? Because that device often goes a little across all worlds, right? And then, you know, so-and-so is using the tablet right now, and I also use it for work or whatever. So that should put fear. You might get someone as the parent to help with the family. And then once they do that, they might be like, hey, can you help me also protect my business? Right. So something to think about. So excellent. David, we have a great week coming up. Tell us more about it.
So it is Small Business Week. We have some events coming up. As you can see behind me on the boards. I'm not going to go through all of them. I'm just going to highlight some key ones, and then we'll have Sean talk about some of the SVDC ones that are coming up. But after this, at 10:30, we have Cigar City Toastmasters. Walter, what is that?
It's a place where you can come and practice your communication skills, especially when you're preparing for your 1 million cups presentation. We meet in this room every first and third Wednesday right after 1 million cups. 10:30 is when we start. Don't have to move anywhere. Just stay right in your seat.
Thank you, Walter. And tomorrow at 10 a.m., we have How to Sell When You Hate to Sell with Dr. Shane Smith. What is that, Shane?
Yeah, I do 2 workshops a month because I enjoy it. And this one's my favorite. How to Sell When You Hate to Sell is for us that are entrepreneurs or yet to be entrepreneurs, and selling is not our favorite thing. This makes it more comfortable. It's simple, and won't say it's easy, but it's simple to help you engage more without fearing the feel of being salesy. So.
Thank you, Shane. And Friday at 10 a.m., we have Let's Get Down to Business Law. So that used to be one-on-one sessions with Bay Area Legal Services. Now it is a small workshop. She talks about different topics, and then she moves on to one-on-one sessions if you want to stay after that. Susan's great. I recommend that, especially if you need some legal advice on your business. She's not a representative for your business, but she will give you some advice and go from there. And then if you have any other questions on anything we have on here or any future workshops, you can come talk to me, Eve, Shayla when she comes in, and Cassidy. And right now I'm going to pass it over to Sean.
Some of those, do they repeat or?
Yes.
Those like just.
A lot of our workshops are once a month. So they do. So if you miss it 1 month, you can come for the next one. Usually if it's a one-time thing, I always say recommend to reach out to the presenter. A lot of times they'll provide you the presentation or talk with you one-on-one. Most of them are okay with doing that. So.
Hey, welcome. Small Business Week. It's great. A lot of things going on, so hopefully you can come and participate. So today we have a summit, Money Talk Summit, how to get banks to say yes. So there's going to be a panel of bankers that's going to really engage on how to really get them to say yes. You know, what it takes to get funded for your business concept and business idea. Tomorrow, AI Advantage, competitive ways to use AI. So that's at 12 to 4. I'm sorry, today's is from 12:30 to 4:30. The AI summit the AI event is going to teach you different ways of implementing AI for your companies. And then on Friday, government contracting, to bid or not to bid. This is really going to go through, you know, what it takes and what to look for when you're thinking about engaging with the government. So hopefully you can come to all those events, and we look forward to your participation in here.
Sorry, I know these are at 12. Is food provided?
Oh, please. Food is sorry.
So if you want to stay, you don't have to worry about getting food. They have food coming, so sit tight. I think that's it. We'll go ahead and move to networking so we can get ready for Toastmasters. But thank you for everybody coming out. This is a packed house, and I love to see this. And thank you for Lakeland coming through. Thank you so much. Don, you killed it, man. Oh, good.
Yes. There you go.